And they'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
What's up, Mavs fans? Welcome into All Things Mavs. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and tonight I'm breaking down the 117-113 L that the Mavs suffered at the hands of the Denver Nuggets. Once again, the Mavs drop another game with 4 guys still out due to COVID-19 protocols, except 3 of them. I will give you a quick update here. They were on the sidelines and they were in the huddles, and they should be back sooner rather than later. Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell. Apparently, Maxi Kleber isn't doing too well. He's actually dealing with some pretty, serious symptoms, and so everybody keep him in your prayers and hope that he's back sooner rather than later. But all that aside, Dallas still drops a game. They lose 117-113 in the clutch to the Denver Nuggets. And so I'll give you a quick recap. I'll give you the box score, and I'll tell you basically the things that frustrated me the most about this game, but also I'll try to end on a little bit of a positive note. So Dallas in the first half, absolutely terrible. They're only down 7 after the first quarter, and they should have been down by a lot more. Denver scored 38 points in that first quarter. Dallas still scored 31 because Denver's just not a very good defensive team. Second quarter, the Mavs get outscored by 5, so they go down by 12 going into halftime. In all honesty, everything in that first half centered around Jamal Murray. He dominated Dallas in that first half, and it was just nothing they could do about it. Now, the frustrating part about that was the fact that Tim Hardaway Jr. was the one checking Jamal Murray. If you watched my game preview, you guys know one of my keys to the game was find a way to contain Jamal Murray. They didn't do it in the first half because guess what? Tim Hardaway Jr. was getting cooked, and Rick didn't try anything else on him. They didn't put anybody else on him. They put Wes Iwundu in a couple times. He didn't even guard Murray. They never even put Josh Green in the game to give him a shot. I don't know what the deal was, but Hardaway wasn't working on Jamal. Jamal was working on Tim Hardaway Jr., and he ended up in this game 25 minutes. He had 16 points, but most of those came in the first half because in the third quarter, Jamal Murray got ejected from this game, which brings me to the second half of this one. Jamal Murray kind of gets knocked down by Tim Hardaway Jr. on really it wasn't even a big deal. Like, he just kind of fell, honestly. And Jamal Murray gets up, and he's off the ground, and he comes up between Tim Hardaway Jr.'s legs and basically hits him in the family jewels on purpose. So he gets a flagrant 2, and he gets ejected. Dallas was down, I believe, 9 at that point in the game. And then they went on a 9-0 run, fueled by Tim Hardaway Jr., who was miserably bad in the first half, and then comes out in the second half after getting a shot in between the legs and just dominates the third quarter. He went and he dunked the ball, and he had a couple of 3-pointers. He ended up having 16 points in the third quarter alone and tied the game back up for the Mavs. They ended up going up by quite a few in the third quarter at one point. They were leading the game by, I believe it was 4 points at one point in the third quarter. And it was all because of, number one, Jamal Murray getting booted out of the game, rightfully so, because it was a dirty play. And then secondly, Tim Hardaway Jr. finally came alive. He's been super inconsistent, but in the third quarter, he finally woke up, and the Mavs had a shot to win. Now, Luka also played that entire third quarter. He was magnificent. He had another triple-double, but he played the entire third quarter, so he sits the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. And that's when everything went wrong for Dallas. When Luka was out, I believe the stat was, I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe the stat was that the Mavericks went 1 for 7 as a team while Luka was out for those first 6 minutes of the game, and so they end up falling behind once again in the fourth quarter, up until James Johnson makes a 25-foot three-point jumper with about 6:30 left. They go back in front, finally 102, or they're back within 2, and they kept it close. But this is kind of where everything began to fall apart. The third quarter was absolutely terrific, and then the fourth quarter, Luka sat for way too long. I know he had to rest, but maybe rest him for he's 21 years old. He doesn't need that much rest. Like, play him most of the fourth quarter if you have to, especially in a close game. So he sits out at the beginning. Nobody besides him could hit a shot anyway. James Johnson was good, but not good enough. He was the first one to even... So the Mavs didn't score in the fourth quarter until there was 9 minutes left, and that was James Johnson. And then they didn't score again until there was 6 minutes and 30 seconds left, which was, again, James Johnson. And then they went on another drought until 5:25 when Luka finally hit a shot. So Luka just sat too long, and the Mavs started to fall behind again. They had to play catch-up in the fourth quarter. And honestly, number one, Michael Porter Jr. was terrific from three, and he kept getting left open. The Mavs defense couldn't find a way to contain him, probably because Dorian Finney-Smith would have been the one guarding him, or maybe even Maxi Kleber. But anybody that got the assignment tonight on Michael Porter Jr. just got dominated. They got absolutely, just beat off the line. He scored 30 points tonight, had 6 of 10 from three, and he was a big reason for that fourth quarter run. But secondly, Kristaps Porzingis was not good in the clutch. In fact, he was bad all game, but he was especially bad in the clutch. He missed a free throw. He threw up some threes that looked like they should have gone in, and usually on a usual night they would go in. But again, I made this point in my preview. I said, hey, one of the keys to winning this game will be for Kristaps Porzingis to make Nikola Jokic uncomfortable. And this is the second game that Porzingis has played against the Nuggets as a Maverick, and it's the second bad game for him. It's something about Denver that Porzingis just doesn't play well. He did not have a good game. He still ended up scoring the ball okay. Like, at the end of the game, he finished with 16 points, but he was 1 of 8 from 3. Most of those misses came in the fourth quarter. He was 6 of 18 from the field. He wasn't making his usual turnaround jumpers. He wasn't posting up very much, but he also didn't really have the switches to do it. In all honesty, and it pains me to say this because I'm a big believer in Kristaps Porzingis as the second piece to a championship team in Dallas, he's the reason the Mavs lost this game. Now, a lot of it had to do with defense as a whole, all across the board, absolutely. So I don't want to blame it all on him, but I do think he is the biggest reason Dallas lost this game in the clutch. If this wasn't a clutch game, I wouldn't have said that, but because it got close at the end and Porzingis didn't show up, that's what happened. He had 2 bad turnovers, he missed a ton of shots, and it was just ugly all around. I think the second reason Dallas lost this game is because Luka sat for too long in the fourth quarter. I know Rick likes to stick to his rotations, but when you have a chance to win a game and you've lost 3 straight, you do whatever it takes. And if that means playing your 21-year-old MVP candidate, you do that. If it means playing him for 40 minutes in a night, you absolutely do it. He ended up playing 39 minutes. Could have played 42, and Dallas probably would have been in better shape. So I don't know what happened there. Also, at the end of the game, interesting note, and obviously I don't really have a ton of notes on this game. I'm kind of just talking about what I saw, which I like to do anyway, and it feels more natural. Jalen Brunson just disappeared. Like, Trey Burke played the entire fourth quarter. He was not good in this game. I mean, he ended up having 9 points. He was okay in the third, bad in the fourth. Brunson was great all game long. He was 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, also had 12 points, but he didn't play the whole fourth quarter. I don't know I don't know if he got hurt. Maybe you're watching this and you know something by now, but I don't know if he got hurt or if it was just a coach's decision to not go to Brunson. But I would have rather had Brunson in there than Trey Burke, because Brunson's been great since he's been back from his COVID, being out for COVID. And tonight he was good, and then just sat the entire fourth. So kind of questioning the decision making on that one. But at the end of the day, he just didn't have defense. That was what it was. Dallas allowed 117 points. They allowed 70 points in the first half. You're not going to win a lot of games when you do that. And when your 3 best defenders are out, yeah, you're going to allow that many points. So, yeah, I was really, really frustrated. This is a game that felt like Dallas could have had. And you know what? I'm proud of them for hanging tough. And I'll get into my positives here in just a second. But, look, the 3 biggest negatives in this game are, number 1, Kristaps Porzingis. Number 2, defense all game long. And then number 3 was the fourth quarter decision making by coach. Usually I don't question coach, but tonight I didn't really understand the rotations. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Number 4, I have a fourth. I'll say a fourth here. I think a lot of us have been like, okay, well, we have these guys out. It stinks, and we're not going to be as good of a team until then. But the team is not supposed to believe that. The team is supposed to go into every single game believing that they can win. They didn't do that tonight. They came out of the first quarter flat, and they just looked like they were low on energy. And so, yeah, I get it. Your defense isn't going to be as good, but you could still come out and play with a high level of energy, and Dallas just didn't do that the entire first half. So low energy, I guess, would be number 4. So let me get the box score real quick for you guys, and then I'll tell you, honestly, a couple positives from this game. For the Mavs, Luka Doncic, incredible night. I barely even talked about Luka, which is kind of unfair to him, but you know, if you lose, there's more things to talk about than Luka having a great night, where he had 35 points, 16 assists, a new season high, 11 rebounds. He had a blocked shot, which was a beautiful block, and 4 steals. Again, defensive Luka is here to stay and here to play. Tim Hardaway Jr., 19 points, 7 of 18 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, also had 7 rebounds. Almost all those points, 16 of those 19, came in the third quarter. Porzingis, 16 points, 6 rebounds. He had 3 turnovers. 2 of them were in the clutch. 5 fouls, 1 of 8 from 3, 6 of 18 from the field. 16 points for James Johnson off the bench. He had his best game so far this year, or so actually, yeah, I'd say this year, but especially in January. 16 points, 7 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. The one shot he missed was when the Mavs really, really needed it to go down, but ultimately a great game by James Johnson. Trey Burke, 9 points. Jalen Brunson, 12 points. Willie Cauley-Stein, 2 points. God, Cauley-Stein, dunk the ball, dude. Just dunk the ball. Just please dunk the ball. That's all I want. He was 0 of 3 from the field, and all of them were shots that he should have just dunked anyway. Boban played 3 minutes. He had 2 points. He was terrible in this game for the 3 minutes that he played. He got cooked by Jokic. Wes Iwundu had 2 points and 3 rebounds. He had some great defensive plays. I love what I got out of Wes Iwundu. And then Tyrell Terry, Tyler Bay, Nate Hinton, Josh Green, all the rookies did not play. So Josh Green goes from averaging 22 minutes a game or 20 minutes a game to not playing in this one. Why? I don't know. You needed defense and you didn't put him in. That didn't understand that one once again. So that's the box score for you guys. For the Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. was the story of the game with 30 points. Jokic actually was kind of held in check with 20 points and 10 rebounds. 16 for Jamal Murray before getting the boot in the third quarter. 17 points for JaMychal Green. He cooked Dallas all game long, especially in the fourth, early in the fourth. 10 points for Gary Harris, 6 for Will Barton, 2 for Paul Millsap, none for Facundo Campazzo, 8 for Monty Morris, 0 from the Little Elm kid himself, RJ Hampton, and then 8 points for PJ Dozier, who went out with a hamstring injury, thankfully for the Mavs, because he was playing pretty well in that first half. So that's the box score. Look, it's hard for me to come up with positives right now because Dallas has now lost 4 straight, I believe is the number. Or 2 straight, excuse me. 2 straight, but for the last 5, I believe. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're a game under 500. They are now 5.5 games back of first place in the Western Conference. I mean, they're still only a game out of 6th place, 2 games out of 4th place. So, like, it's really not that big of a deal right now. But it's hard for me to become positive about this just because of the situation the Mavs are in. But I will say, the fact that Dallas was able to hang tough with a team in Denver that is 10-7. They've won 4 straight now. They're 7-3 in their last 10. The fact that they were able to push them all the way in the clutch. I know there was no Jamal Murray, but boo freaking who? The Mavs didn't have 4 of their best players, or 3 of their best defenders and 4 rotation players. And the fact that they were able to do that without those guys in the lineup is huge. If we saw Denver in a playoff matchup and the Mavs were 100% healthy, I'm picking the Mavs 100 times out of 100 because I've seen them beat them without Kristaps Porzingis and the rest of the guys healthy. And then now I've seen them push them in the clutch without 4 rotation players. That's huge for the Mavs. I'm not going to say this game was a moral victory because honestly it was kind of crushing, but I will say that I'm encouraged by it. The other positive that I want to take out of this one is the fact that Josh Richardson, Dwight Powell, and Dorian Finney-Smith are clearly nearing a return. Like, they were at the game tonight, they were in the huddle during timeouts, and they were ready to go. And I think even if they come in and they just play in short spurts in these 2 games against Utah, which, by the way, are going to be really, really tough, but I'll have the preview for that tomorrow. Even if they just play in short spurts, just having their presence back is going to be a huge boost for this team. So don't get completely discouraged, but I understand if you're frustrated, all right? So hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you want to see the Mavs do. Let me know what you were most frustrated about this game, but also tell me something positive. Let's be a little bit happy here on the All Things Mavs channel. I know I'm Homer Jimmy here, but I want to be able to be positive after some of these games, at least until this team is fully healthy. Now, if they're fully healthy and they're losing games like they did tonight, or, you know, losing against teams like Chicago and Charlotte, if they're fully healthy, then we have a problem. But they're not healthy, right? So, still calm down, but this was probably one of the more frustrating games to lose because the Mavs were in it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are, right now, as I look at my subscriber count, 195 subscribers away. 195 from 3,000 subscribers. As you guys know, I'll give out an All Things Mavs t-shirt once I hit 3,000. Also, you might have noticed I got an ad. You might have gotten an ad before this video, and you might get one after this video. You might have had one in the middle. That's because my channel finally got monetized. Stream, cue the confetti and streamers. So now I'm going to start making money talking about the Mavs, and that's all because of you guys hitting that subscribe button. So make sure you subscribe, like this video, get in the comment section, let me know what you liked, let me know what you didn't like about this game. And as always, although sometimes it's tough and it can be very disappointing, go Mavs, baby.